All right, we are live.
We're live? Okay. Thank you. So we'll pause that and we'll pick it back up after the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Bloomington Liquor Commission, City of Bloomington Liquor Commission. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Milawamboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Meister,
Here.
Commissioner Jordan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have public comment next on our agenda? I do believe we received something by email, correct?
I apologize, that was received for item number 5, not general public comment. We didn't receive any general public comment or have anyone email
Live?
on public comment. So no,
Okay.
no live and no email.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So we are going to go ahead and move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is consideration action to approve minutes from the April 13, 2021 regular Liquor Commission meeting.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Can I make a quick request?
Sure.
we did
There's a correction.
We did find a typo in the minutes for a motion, and that would be for the Mickey's Kitchen item. The Commissioner Meister actually motioned and Commissioner Renner seconded. So there's a typo there. So I would request that we motion to amend.
Right. And it had originally mentioned that it was Commissioner Jordan, right, who was not present at that meeting?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Has that been,
Awesome.
excuse me, that's been continued, is that right, Amanda?
Yeah, the item has been continued to today, but the minutes reflected they were incorrect from the motion. So I just requesting they were corrected.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So we do have a motion by Commissioner Meister, and can I have a second?
I will second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? You're muted.
Commissioner Meister,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Milawamboy.
Yes. Thank you. And next on the agenda is item number 5, public hearing and action on the request from 8-Bit 2 Incorporated, doing business as Witchcraft Bottle Shop, to be located at 350 North Main Street, requesting a Class Tbts Tavern beer, wine only package and Sunday sales liquor license as requested by the City Clerk Department. And before we move further, I do want to explain the order of proceedings and procedures. So we will first have a brief opening statement and presentation by the applicant. After that, we will hear testimony from those speaking in favor of the application. Following that, we will hear some staff input. And after that, we will take testimony and statements from those opposing the application and those that simply have questions about the application. If there are questions, they should be addressed to the commission rather than the applicant directly. Then the applicant will have an opportunity to present rebuttal evidence or evidence that addresses the questions or concerns raised. After that, I will close the public hearing and the commission will deliberate and make a determination as to its recommendation.
I don't think you
So,
have to go back. Okay. You're all right.
the beauty of technology.
Sorry.
Welcome, George. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And who do we have representing the applicant?
We have Mr. Jason Casey. He's the owner.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear you.
Sorry.
Amanda. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We have Jason Casey.
Okay. You, Mr. Pacey, you may proceed and tell us about.
Mr. Pacey, can we swear you in, please?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. Sorry. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your application and your business model and what you intend to do.
Sure. Is anybody familiar with a bottle shop?
Now, can you?
Okay.
Yes.
So what a bottle shop is, I'm sorry, is a high-end craft beer store / bar. There's going to be a small amount of seats, less than 10 in the whole entire bar. And the rest is retail. So there's going to be coolers and, just beer displays. What people can do from other stores are, since craft beer prices can range up to, $25, $30 a 4-pack for higher end stuff. They can grab the 4-pack and buy it, or they can buy one at a time, or for a surcharge, they can come drink it at the bar. So, that pretty much sums what a bottle shop is. There's also going to be 8 to 16 drafts for people who want to enjoy at the bar, or you can also fill them up in crowlers and take them home. But like I said, we're getting a tavern license, but majority of our business will be retail.
Commissioner Nolan, what are your views?
Yes, that's a hazard of all of these Zoom things. Sorry. So do we have anybody other than the applicant to speak in favor?
We do not. We did receive one emailed comment, which I provided to the commission and to Mr. Pacey from Miss Jan Lancaster. But that was
okay. Thank you. Well, I guess at this point we can go ahead and proceed with questions from the commissioners.
Well, I think it would be interesting, at least from a perspective of the history of that particular location. I don't know if the mayors are familiar with the agreement, I believe, that was put into place for that location, the 3 and 400 block, Main Street. That it was a residential situation. I know prior to them making this commitment, the bistro was always there, but the residents at the time were not in favor of another liquor license in that location. Are you aware of that?
Not that I remember. I read that from the packet, but I don't have a recollection for myself personally. Do you remember about what time? Maybe George, you can.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure where that exactly came from. There's no written agreement of any kind, nor has there been that I'm aware of. I remember that there was a place that is alluded to in Ms. Lancaster's email that had applied for a license. And at that time, the commission was concerned really about their first being menu items, and then second of all, somewhat about the location. But it wasn't like there's been any kind of, say, plebiscite or any kind of ruling in on it. And when people talk about an agreement, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I was even saying anyone other than the applicant. I don't know if Commissioner Jordan's aware of some agreement. I'm certainly not. I think it's fair to say there's residences there. We sent out a number of notices, but as far as some agreement, there's not any that I'm aware of.
I don't know that there. I know it was rejected. It's been several. I got to admit, it's been several years ago that Six Strings wanted to locate there on the corner where the old dime store was, and the commission at that time turned that down because of the location. And so they have eventually ended up on the North Main Street or North Center Street. So I know there was some controversy about that particular location and the fact that there was a liquor license in question, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
All right, were those questions, do you have any questions for the applicant, Commissioner Jordan?
Well, I think, yeah, I have
Sounds
a
like
few.
comments.
Number one, I think the hours, I don't know if you stated the actual hours you're going to be in operation.
I did. It's on the application. It shows that we will not be open past 9 p.m.
What time do you open?
It'll be 2 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock during the day, during the weekdays, and around on noon on Saturday, Sunday.
And I suppose the thing that concerns me is at what point in time would you see that you would consider changing your either the hours or your status? Since you're a tavern, that would give you, I'm not sure, I might have to ask George if he's applying for a tavern license, does that give him the option of including distilled spirits?
We are a beer and wine. That's the license we're going for.
Is that where we're at with that, George?
Beer and wine would be that you would need to apply for something, you know, a change in classification to get something different. Also, I would say that, you know, if you're, I don't know if this addresses what's implicit in your question, but, you know, the size of the premises is set with the license, so that if there was a change in size, you know, that was anything more than very minuscule, you know, some significant change in size of premises would also require a reapplication, you know, to the commission for a different size, what we'd call a permanent extension of premises.
So I guess that would bring to the question, would you have more than 10 people at one time at the bar?
There will be 10 to 20 people maximum capacity. And that's with a couple chairs or tables up front as well.
I'm going to withhold for a minute. I'm trying to think of, it seemed to me like there was another issue, but I'll wait, see if the other commissioner has an issue.
I don't have any issues with it. It seems like he's trying to open a pretty small inside area, and I'm familiar with bottle shops similar to kind of what other cities have done. So the hours seem really reasonable. Closing at 9 p.m. I think that's more than reasonable, especially given even the residences that are in that area. I think the hours are great. Obviously, Jason, your staff is going to be Bassett trained.
They already are. They're the same staff I have at the former 8-bit location that I owned.
And you have 2 other locations, correct? You've got one in Peoria and one in
Washington.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any issues with it. I think it would be a great addition to downtown Bloomington. In fact, I think it would, you know, bring some more diversity downtown as far as it. I don't view this as just another bar. I think this is something completely different. Like he said, it sounds more like retail when you're talking about high-end beers, basically craft beer. So I am in favor of this license.
I suppose, Mayor, you got something to say? Go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to ask a couple of questions here in regards to the diversity of offerings. I noticed that in your application, and you said it would be different. It would offer something completely different in downtown Bloomington, different products. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? Expand on it.
I mean, well, we're exactly like I said, it's craft beer. There's no domestics, no low end stuff. It's ciders and meads stuff. A lot of the stuff that I travel the state and bring it in that even like Benny's doesn't even carry in town.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you plan on having any sort of music or anything like that?
No, I mean, there's going to be, you know, background music, just like any retail establishment, but there's nothing more than that.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Commissioner Jordan?
Are you saying you're gonna have a capacity of 10 at the bar and another 10 with tables and chairs? Is that correct?
Yes, give or take. Yes, correct.
And the only concern I have is, I think what's been discussed in the past, number one, and number two, as long as you clearly understand that an adjustment to the hours that you applied for, and if there's a variation, I think that would have to be one of the things we'd have to consider if you reapplied for a lengthier time to open and close. So you understand that?
I'm very aware.
Okay, I don't have any other questions, I don't believe.
I think,
Okay.
what are you saying, just to kind of get clear on this? Are you saying that you want those hours to be a condition of the license, Commissioner Jordan?
Yes,
Or are you say, okay, because I will say otherwise, without anything specific that way. I mean, it's possible, excuse me, it's possible for him to potentially expand his license. So if that's one of your concerns or one of the commission's concerns, perhaps that should be addressed now, and you know, it sounds like Mr. Pacey may be open to just agreeing to that as a condition if that moves things along. I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's not necessarily guaranteed without being addressed by the commission and its recommendation by council.
Well, and I think, George, before Mr. Pacey responds to that, could you maybe walk us through the mechanics of doing something like that? If we were to put on conditions for the hours, and then how would he go about looking to extend those in the future? I think it'd be important for him to understand that before he answers.
Sure. He would apply to the commission for a change in conditions. So the liquor commission, you know, can impose certain conditions on a license if that's the way it goes, if, you know, if that's what it decides, or, you know, what the council decides with the commission's recommendation. And there can be an application to lift the condition or to modify it. And at that type of hearing, you know, often what would come up is whether there'd been any issues or violations, the reason for the change, those kinds of things. I'm not saying that I'm not advising whether it be imposed or not. I'm just simply addressing that one commissioner seemed to be concerned about hours, and there'd been a representation by the applicant as to what the hours would be. So whether that's addressed or not, that's, you know, not my call, but that's how the condition could be lifted or modified.
Okay.
I guess I would have to ask the mayor if he sees that's reasonable.
Well, go ahead, George.
I was just suggesting that maybe we ask the applicant some questions and then get to discussing the application and some other things. This is the evidentiary part of the hearing. I know I have a couple questions, at least for the record.
Yeah.
And
Please.
Okay, so would you, Mr. Pacey, would you like to answer that question as far as the hours are concerned, if it is something that you would be open to?
Yeah. Are we concerned about the closing time or the opening time, or both?
If you're addressing that to me, I would say the closing time would be the issue. I don't perceive you would want to open any sooner than what you've applied for. I think what you've asked for is reasonable.
Yeah, if it's about closing time, that's not an issue whatsoever.
And I think Commissioner Jordan's concern is whether, if things were to not go in the direction that you wanted to go, would you look to extend the hours?
No, because that's not our business model. We are retail majority.
Okay. Sounds good.
So you, I guess maybe you're anticipating your sales from a retail perspective will far exceed those of over the bar.
Correct.
Okay.
And is this, I do notice that you have a couple locations, right, in Peoria and East Peoria. Is that a similar kind of business?
No, I have the 8-bit arcade bar, which I had in Bloomington. I have one in Peoria, and I have a restaurant in Washington.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. George, you said you had questions?
Yes, at those other locations, that's just for the record, have you had any violations?
Peoria had one underage, one 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But it didn't have a single one in Bloomington or any other place since then.
I will confirm for the record that there hasn't been any violations in Bloomington from any Mr. Pacey's establishment. I think,
Any other questions, George?
just with regard to that, so how many people are you looking at having on staff?
There will be one person only.
Will that be you? Will that be him, George? That'd be the
I don't know,
applicant.
you could ask him. I don't know.
Will that be you yourself, sir?
Not all the time.
Go ahead. I have one other question. Do you have any intention of ever having gaming machines in your establishment?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Sounds good. What about the commissioners? Any other questions?
No further questions from me.
No, I think he's answered them as long as we're under the understanding that he's agreeable to the hours that he set forth in the application. I don't have any problems.
Okay. Sounds good. So do we have anybody who would like to speak against the application?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Sounds good. So I guess at this point, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and give the commissioners a chance to vote on this item. Or have any other?
Sorry, Mayor.
No, go ahead.
I make a
Go
motion
ahead.
to approve this license and send to City Council.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Meister. Do I have a second?
I will second the motion.
Okay. Second by Commissioner Jordan. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Just to confirm, that did not have any conditions on the license, correct?
Correct.
Yes, that's what I understood.
Just wanted to make sure. Councilmember Meister, or Commissioner Meister,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Milwambwe.
Yes.
Thank you.
It gets very complicated with the council members and the commissioners and the sisters and the brothers. Okay. I think, Mr. Pacey, you are free to go at this moment, but you're
All right,
also
thank you.
welcome to hang around if you'd like.
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, you take care. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing and action on the request from Texas Roadhouse Holdings, doing business as Texas Roadhouse, to be located at 1713 East Empire Street, requesting a Class RAS restaurant, all types of alcohol and Sunday sales liquor license, as requested by the City Clerk Department. I am not going to go ahead and repeat what I said about the order of proceedings, unless you really would like me to. I could do that. But I guess we're going to go ahead and have a brief opening statement and presentation by the applicant's representative, correct? Okay. And
Please swear the representative in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
okay. And your name is pronounced Nicole Levesque?
Yes, sir. That's correct. You pronounced it perfectly. Many people don't.
Yeah, well, it's French. It's French.
Yes, sir. It is.
And I'm a French speaker, so I knew.
There you go. I appreciate that very much. Commissioner, I'm also joined by managing partner Chris Hernan, who may jump in on this presentation with me, but I'm going to take the lead for the moment and allow Chris an opportunity to speak with your permission.
Sure.
As you mentioned, Commissioner, we are applying for an RAS license. This is going to be a new build. We're going to be 1713 East Empire Street. We are a very well-known steakhouse and rib restaurant throughout the country. I believe we have over 600 locations, and Chris can confirm that for me. Large emphasis on the quality of our food, our sides, homemade bread, etc. Our premises is going to have a separate bar space. It is also going to have a large dining room area. Total, there's going to be about 320 seats. 15 of those seats are going to be at the bar, and 40 seats are also going to be in that bar area, but the majority of them are going to be in the formal dining space. This will be for all alcohol types, beer, wine, and cocktails. And the offerings are going to be very consistent as they are with our other locations. And so we're going to have about a dozen beer offerings, about the same wine, cocktails, a very good, healthy, robust mix. So whatever your palate's desiring at the moment, I'm sure we would have an option for you. We do not at this time intend to do delivery, but as you can see from the plan that was included within the application packet, there is going to be a curbside pickup area. It's my understanding, speaking from Chris, that there's no desire at this time to do curbside with alcohol. They certainly will be offering food through that curbside area window, but no alcohol at the time. The goal is, as things open up, we want everybody to come on inside and really enjoy the environment that we've cultivated as part of our brand. The alcohol sales run approximately 8 to 9% overall. So not a huge number here. Most, if not more often than not, food is always going to be accompanying drinks, although it is possible for somebody to come in, sit down at the bar and have a drink if they will. For Bassett, all of our employees are going to be trained. They're not allowed on the floor until they have their tips in hand. And then there's also a very robust internal training program that Texas Roadhouse goes through with their employees. And I'll actually let Chris talk a little bit more about the internal checks and procedures that do go along with that, because he's in the best position to describe that. And I also want to give him the opportunity to interface with you all. So I'll turn that over to Chris to dive into that and to add anything else that he would like.
You could please raise your right hand. Do you swear from the
Excuse me, before we have any other witnesses, could we just take one at a time for a minute so that if there are questions for this witness, I'm interested in making sure we've got a nice record, that's all, so.
Understood. So long as we understand that the full presentation won't be complete until Mr. Hernan does dive in. Okay.
No doubt about that. I understand.
Excellent. Okay, yes, please do go right ahead. Any questions or concerns that I can answer, I'm happy to do so.
Sure, commissioners.
I don't have any questions at this time. You kind of answered the Bassett question as far as your employees will be Bassett certified. That's always one of the questions. And then I assume your hours are probably pretty typical with your other locations. So I think at this time, I have no questions.
And
I just wanted to, I guess, confirm the hours that you're going to have here in this location.
It's my understanding, and I'll let Chris confirm, but the restaurant will be open from 10 to 4 Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 on Friday, and then 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. No, that's not right. Then Chris can absolutely correct me when I'm
That's fine.
complete.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought I took that information correctly off the application, Commissioner Jordan, but I'll certainly let Mr. Hernan correct my mistake.
That's
I-
okay.
Yeah.
So
I
do
have
we
no
have
que-
any other?
I have no
You have no
questions.
questions?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess we can go ahead and hear from Chris.
Yes,
Right,
please.
so why don't you go ahead and Ms. Mohan will swear you in.
Thank you. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Would you go ahead and just proceed with your presentation, things you were going to add before we can ask you a question?
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. You really did cover everything. That was amazing. The only thing that was different on the hours is we are not going to be open for lunch during the weekday. We will open at 4 o'clock, which is what the other stores in the central Illinois area normally do. Most Texas Roadhouses aren't open for lunch during the week, only on the weekends, and we'll be open from 11 to 11 on Saturday and 11 to 10 on Sunday. So we'll have very similar operating hours to the Outback across the street, with the exception of lunch. But I mean, she really did cover everything. We do have a very extensive responsible alcohol service program inside the store on top of the Bassett training program that every employee that serves alcohol has to redo every year annually. So beyond that, I'm open to any questions if anybody has anything.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that entails when you say every employee have to redo it every year? What exactly do you do?
Yeah, it is an online interactive class. It's very, very similar to the Bassett training program. It's actually modeled after it. There's videos and a testing program that they have to take, and they have to score almost a perfect score to pass it.
Okay. Awesome.
Question, I guess, would be how do you verify ages as far as serving goes?
For our servers themselves or for the guests?
Well, for the guests that
Yeah, okay.
would be purchasing, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we check and verify IDs. We only accept military IDs, driver's license, state IDs, or passports.
I see. All right, fair enough.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Meister?
I have no questions. Everything seemed pretty self-explained as far as the hours and the basket training, and no further questions for me.
George, any questions?
Chris, do you live in Bloomington, or will there be a local manager, or what's your thoughts about how the store would?
Well, my management team right now is built from people from the surrounding Texas Roadhouses.
Uh-huh.
I worked in Decatur, Champaign, and East Peoria. I spent some time in Springfield as well. But currently I live in Morton.
Mhm.
I am looking in the area, but my drive to work right now is only about 30 minutes. I have two managers right now that live in the Bloomington area, one on the north end and then one just outside of town over by Market Street. So
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, if there are no further questions, is there anybody present who to speak in favor of the application other than the applicant themselves?
We didn't receive any registrations for or against the application.
Okay. Anybody against the application? Nobody? Okay. All right. Awesome. So I guess at this point, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and ask for commissioners to for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We accept the applicant as stated for approval.
I second.
Okay, so motion by Commissioner Jordan, second by Commissioner Meister. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Meister,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Millwamboy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you
Yeah.
very much. Again, you're more than welcome to stay if you'd like. But otherwise, you're free to go.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Okay. 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 Sorry. My computer went to sleep on me for a quick second here. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is item number 7, continued sanctions hearing on a complaint and citation 2021-003 issued to Hurley Consolidated Enterprises, doing business as drifters, excuse me, located at 612 North Main Street as requested by the legal department. I think, George, you are on deck on this one.
That's right, Mayor. At the last hearing, an amended order was issued regarding sanctions. Essentially, it took the sanctions and divided them into 3 portions. The matter was continued today so that there'd be a monitoring as to whether the first portion of that sanctions order had been complied with, and it has been. That involved the licensee. The total fine against the licensee was $2,500 by this amended order. At the time that the order was signed, $1,500 had been received. So this first section of sanctions involved, and this was sanctions for a failure to pay food and beverage taxes for a period of time. And the this first part of the order involved payment of that additional $1,000 in fine, as well as a renewal fee, because we're coming to the time when license renewals were due, a renewal fee of $2,950, a late payment penalty of $295. All of that, plus the provision of some supporting documentation for that license renewal. All of that has been accomplished. So I'm pleased to report that in terms of the sanctions, all that's been done for stage 1. And stage 2 will involve the payment of 1/2 of the delinquent taxes, fees, penalties, interests that are owed. So with that in mind, I'd ask for a motion to continue this matter to June 8th, which is the next regularly scheduled Liquor Commission meeting for sanctions. And we'll be able, hopefully at that time, to report further compliance.
I would make the motion. We follow the instructions of legal counsel and continue this until the next meeting.
I second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Jordan, second by Commissioner Meister. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Meister,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Millwamboy.
Yes. Good work, George. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So next item on the agenda is item number 8, continued hearing on a complaint and citation issued to Mickey's Kitchen, doing business as Mickey's Kitchen, located at 1709 South Veterans Parkway, Suite A, as requested by the legal department. Once again, George, take it away.
Thank you. This is a case that had involved non-payment of taxes and the potential that the establishment was operating through a non-licensed entity. There has been a discussion and an agreement. I'm a little loath to describe an agreement that has not yet been sent for your signature such that you could sign it today. I will tell you this, we've agreed to it. We have an arrangement. I have not received the signature. So I'd ask that this be continued to June 8th. And at that time, hopefully prior to that time, I'll be presenting an order that will provide for the appropriate sanctions. So we have an order, but we just don't have it signed and in front of us. So I'm loath to describe it and, unless more
Sure.
than that.
I motion to
Understood.
continue this to June 8th, awaiting a signature.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Meister, second by Commissioner Jordan. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Meister,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes,
Commissioner Millwamboy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. It looks like we do not have anything under old business or new business. So our time together has come to an end.
Well, I don't know. We had
Or not.
discussed, there's a potential, and I'm going to leave this up to Madam Clerk here. But I think we're going to discuss a potential date for a special meeting. Now, my information may be out of date at this point.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I do not see anything under the agenda, so that's why I just kind of moved straight forward to adjourning. But
Would you-
yes, Madam
I'm sorry.
Clerk, would you care to comment?
We have a event at the zoo that has submitted the application. Unfortunately, we might need to do a special meeting just due to the timelines of council approval and liquor commission approval. We're looking at dates for next week in order for it to appear before council on the 24th. So that date will be forthcoming.
And, okay, so that's not really a matter of business that would need to be, and first of all, I think it would be okay to come under new business because it's just it wouldn't be a final action. But having said that, it sounds like there'll be some, we'll send out a couple potential dates,
Mhm.
if in fact we need to go that road.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Anything else for the good of the order?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, awesome. Motion by Commissioner Jordan, second by Commissioner Meister. Voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned.